Have you ever wondered why patience seems so elusive, especially when you need it the most? Well, you're not alone in this. Many of us grapple with the paradox of patience. It's a bit like trying to grasp water. The harder you squeeze, the more it slips through your fingers. To understand this better, let's delve a bit deeper into the concept of patience. Often we think of patience as a trait, something we are either born with or not. But that's not the entire truth. Patience is more like a skill, a muscle that needs to be trained and strengthened over time. It's not about simply waiting for things to happen, but rather, it's about how we handle the wait. The paradox here lies in the fact that the more we try to force patience, the more elusive it becomes. It's a bit like trying to force yourself to fall asleep. The more you try, the more awake you become. Patience, like sleep, cannot be forced. It must be allowed to unfold naturally. This might sound a bit counterintuitive, but it's true. Patience is not about suppressing our feelings of impatience, but rather about acknowledging them and then choosing how to respond. It's about taking a step back, breathing, and allowing ourselves to experience the present moment fully without rushing through it. So, how can we cultivate this elusive skill? Well, that's what we're going to explore in this video. We'll be breaking down the journey of becoming more patient into clear, actionable steps. We'll discuss the science behind patience, the importance of awareness, the role of practice, and finally, how to be patient with ourselves. Remember, patience is not something that can be achieved overnight. It's a journey, a process of self-discovery and growth. It requires our conscious effort and commitment, but the rewards of this journey are well worth the effort. So, fasten your seatbelts as we embark on this journey of self-discovery and patience building. What if I told you that science has a say in our level of patience? Yes, you heard that right. It's not all about willpower and self-control. The fields of neuroscience and psychology have shed light on the intricate workings of patience, and the findings are fascinating. Think about the last time you were truly impatient. Was it in a traffic jam? Or perhaps while waiting for a slow internet connection? Now consider what was happening in your body. Your heart rate was probably up, your palms might have been sweaty, and you were likely feeling a bit anxious. This is your body's stress response, a physiological reaction that's hardwired into our brains. When we're stressed, our patience thin out. So what does science suggest we do about it? The answer lies in the practice of mindfulness. Mindfulness is the psychological process of bringing one's attention to the present moment. It's about observing your thoughts and feelings without judgment. Psychologists have discovered that mindfulness can actually change the structure of our brains. It can strengthen the prefrontal cortex, the region associated with executive functions like decision-making and emotion regulation. This means that by practicing mindfulness, we can better control our reactions, enhancing our patience in the process. Moreover, a study published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that mindfulness can reduce anxiety and stress. By lowering these levels, we can increase our capacity for patience. However, it's not just about controlling our reactions. Patience is also about understanding and accepting that some things take time. This understanding can help us cope with the inevitable delays and setbacks in life, making us not only more patient, but also happier and more satisfied. So, the next time you find yourself growing impatient, remember that it's not just about gritting your teeth and bearing it. It's about understanding the science behind your reactions and using mindfulness to navigate your way through. Understanding the science behind patience is the first step towards mastering it. The first step to becoming more patient is awareness. Imagine you're standing on a beach. You can feel the sand beneath your feet, the sun on your skin, the breeze in your hair. Now imagine that each of these sensations is a feeling or reaction that you're experiencing in your everyday life. To be aware is to recognize these sensations, to acknowledge their existence, and to understand their impact on your overall experience. In the context of patience, awareness means recognizing when you're feeling impatient or frustrated, acknowledging these feelings, and understanding how they're influencing your actions or reactions. It's about being tuned into what you're feeling in the moment, and not just going through the motions. But how do we increase our awareness? This is where mindfulness comes in. Mindfulness is a practice that involves paying attention to the present moment, without judgment. It's about observing your thoughts and feelings as they arise, without trying to change them or push them away. When we practice mindfulness, we're training our brain to be more aware of our feelings and reactions. We're teaching ourselves to notice when we're feeling impatient, to recognize the triggers that cause these feelings, and to understand how these feelings are influencing our actions or reactions. In a sense, Mindfulness is like a flashlight that shines a light on our impatience. It illuminates the feelings and reactions that we might otherwise overlook or dismiss. And by shining a light on these feelings and reactions, we can start to see them for what they really are: temporary and fleeting. They're not permanent or defining characteristics of who we are, but simply sensations that come and go. And here's the really powerful part. Once we're aware of our impatience, we can start to choose how we respond to it. We can choose to react impulsively, or we can choose to respond with patience and understanding. We can choose to let our impatience control us, or we can choose to control our impatience. With awareness, we can start to notice when our patience is tested and choose our response wisely. Just like any other skill, patience requires practice. And how do we practice patience? It's a question that might be swirling around in your mind. Well, let's delve into some practical exercises that can help you flex your patience muscle. Firstly, meditation. Now you might be thinking, meditation? Really? But hear me out. The very essence of meditation is patience. It's about sitting with your thoughts, not rushing to conclusions, not getting swayed by the tempest of your mind. It's about being present, being patient with the moment. So start with 5 minutes a day. Sit in a quiet space, close your eyes, and focus on your breath. As thoughts come, let them. Don't try to push them away. Instead, patiently wait for them to pass like clouds in the sky. Secondly, deep breathing. This is a simple yet powerful tool to cultivate patience. When you're in a stressful situation, your heart rate spikes, your breath becomes shallow, and your patience wears thin. But by taking deep, controlled breaths, you can calm your nervous system, slow down your heart rate, and bring yourself back to a state of patience. So next time you find yourself losing patience, take a moment to breathe. Inhale deeply, hold for a few seconds, and then exhale slowly. Do this a few times and see the magic unfold. Lastly, the pause. This one's a bit tricky. It's about creating a gap between the stimulus and your response. You see, we often react instantly without giving ourselves the time to process the situation. But by taking a pause, we give ourselves the chance to respond with patience. So the next time you're about to react, stop, take a pause, reflect on the situation, weigh your options, and then respond. It might feel unnatural at first, but with practice, it becomes second nature. So there you have it. 3 simple yet powerful exercises to practice patience. Remember, these are not one-time solutions, but habits that you need to cultivate over time. And yes, it takes patience to develop patience, but the payoff is well worth it. Remember, patience is a muscle that needs to be exercised regularly. Last, but certainly not least, is learning to be patient with oneself. This is the final step, yet arguably the most crucial one, in our journey towards mastering patience. Now, this may seem paradoxical. After all, aren't we talking about being patient with others? Well, yes, but everything begins with self. You see, our ability to exhibit patience towards others is often a reflection of how patient we are with ourselves. Let's unravel this a bit. Imagine you're learning a new skill, say playing the piano. The first few days, even the simplest of tunes seem impossible to master. It's natural to feel frustrated, isn't it? But here's where patience with self comes into play. If we berate ourselves for every wrong note, our frustration only escalates. Conversely, if we gently remind ourselves that it's okay to stumble, that it's a part of the learning process, we're more likely to remain calm and focused. This is self-compassion, a key ingredient in the recipe for patience. It's about acknowledging our own struggles without judgment or criticism. It's about understanding that it's perfectly human to err, to falter, and to take time to learn and grow. Now, how does this translate to being more patient with others? Well, when we're kind to ourselves, it becomes easier to extend that kindness to others. When we understand our own struggles, we're more likely to empathize with the struggles of others. When we're patient with our own flaws and shortcomings, we find it easier to tolerate the imperfections in others. Remember, patience isn't about tolerating wrongs. It's about understanding that everyone is on their own journey, and that journey takes time. It's about realizing that we all make mistakes, and that's okay. It's about giving ourselves and others the space to learn, to grow, and to become better. So take a deep breath, be gentle with yourself. Celebrate your small victories and learn from your setbacks. Extend the same kindness and understanding to others that you do to yourself. The journey to patience begins with self-compassion and understanding.